Oh man, I don't even know how I should start this video off because today we had one of our biggest percent losers today, not our biggest dollar loss today. Two trades, both were red. You guys saw one on the live stream. Yeah, it was okay. I could have got out maybe a little earlier, but it wasn't the worst. The second trade though, after the live stream, I really got butchered, and it was totally my fault. Could have been avoidable. There was a few things today that got me a little bit on edge. I was doing accounting for our company. I was doing tax work for hours, basically the whole morning leading up to the trading day. I was doing accounting, and you probably noticed by the time I was on the live stream, I was a little loopy in my head. I was just maybe a little bit more scatterbrained than I should have been. I definitely felt it myself. My mind was somewhere else. And I think that was a big reason of why we had such a big loss. So in a little bit, I'm going to show you guys what my charts look like. And I want to show you though, first, I want to dive through my trade journal, because how does this affect my $25,000 challenge? How does this affect my stats? What are my biggest losers? What are my biggest winners? So I went through my trade journal and updated it a little bit. I added some more statistics to it, and I'm going to show you guys all those because there's tons of good stats that we can learn from today. So after going through trade journal, I felt a little bit better because we're already on month 3. We're wrapping up month 3. This is our best month so far. And looking at the trade journal, it gave me a bit of the bigger picture. So any one day doesn't feel that bad, or I guess that good. You just see that, general progress, that upward slope, and it looks really nice. But, on a day like today, it definitely makes you look a little bit deeper into your stats. And honestly, a red day like today can be some of the best days in terms of learning, because it really forces you to try to figure out, what went wrong, what you're doing right, what you need to work on. So let's dive into Trade Journal and let me show you guys everything that I uncovered today. And then we will hit the charts to review the actual trades. And remember guys, if you love this raw trading challenge, don't forget to leave a like. And if you guys are totally new here, consider subscribing. I go live every trading day, and then I do a recap video talking about the trading day. So if you want to learn more about trading, especially right now, how to grow a small account, we're growing ours from 4,000 to 25,000, and right now we're about at 5,000. Well, I don't want to give away the rest because it was our biggest red day today. All right, guys, so here you have it. The two trades I made today, just absolutely devastating. The first trade, 7.47% loss, $71 loss. Not really that bad. I could have closed it out earlier and took maybe a $50 loss. Losers happen. It's fine. It's just, I always say small losses are fine, but big losses are not. And our next trade was a big, massive loss. Oh my God, 170. I can't believe that, I let that happen. This is our biggest percentage loser of the challenge, period. No discussion about it. It's not our biggest loser though. We've actually had a $180 loser. You can see here, biggest losses. This is a new column I put together, and that's just because we had a bigger position size, obviously. Where was that? That was like right in the beginning. Let me quickly see if I can find it. Right here, it was in December, support line bounce. This was the pre-market one actually that we did, and I was just not able to get out of this position quick enough, and that's kind of what happened. Actually, not really. So this position I could have easily got out many times. I just ended up holding it too long. I'm going to show you guys in the charts in a second what I mean by that, but I just held this one too long. I was way too bullish on this this chart pattern. I was way too bullish on the company, the news, everything about it, and I just held this one too long. It was my last trade of the day because we only had 2 trades today instead of 3, so I just made a lot of mistakes. I also wanted just to point out that all my stats are a little bit different because I wanted to really hone down on this whole challenge, and this trade journal originally contained trades made before the challenge, and it was a little choppy. So the data before the challenge looked pretty good because it was more data, right? So our winning ratio was a lot better. It was about 63%. when I removed all the past data. So now we're only starting from November based on the first trade we made in the beginning of this challenge after we deposited the $4,000. So that brought down my winning ratio to 52.85%. This winning ratio used to be a lot better. It's just this last week we made a lot of mistakes. It was a really bumpy week for me. We gave back some profits in January already. I had just a shaky way to end, getting close to ending the month. I almost don't even really know what to say about it. You know, our win-loss ratio are almost identical right now, but we're still up $909 in the challenge. And that's just because these two last trades were just a little bit shaky. Also last week, you know, or this week, it's just been a shaky week. So a lot of these stats are just from these last few trades we made. And let me quickly show you guys. If I just remove these last few trades, you can see that our stats become much better. So it's just this week I've made a lot of mistakes. So our winning ratio instantly goes back up to 55. Our total profit is at 1,300. This week was just a really bad one for me. Our average win is 4.4. Our average loss is 3.84%. So this week, I just let a few trades get the best of me. And I think a big reason for that, I mean, I don't like blaming outside things, but I've been doing a lot of tax work. So I have taxes due on the 31st. I have to get our 1099s ready. I have to get our W-2 ready for the company. And I've been spending hours. I've been spending my whole mornings on tax work. And then after like 4 or 5 hours of tax work, then I start trading. And I think that's been kind of messing me up. I've been a little loopy on the live streams, and you guys probably noticed that. Yeah, again, I don't like blaming outside factors, but I think I need to take account these outside factors a little bit more. I need to understand, you know, if the market's weak, which it was today, we didn't have any really big dollar volume. And if I'm not really feeling 100%, I just need to be extra careful and not just say it, but also react on it. And, you know, today was one of those days where I knew I was loopy and I should have been a little bit more careful. So right now, starting in November when we had our first two trades and then just kind of scrolling down here, you know, things were looking pretty good. We were up quite nicely. And, you know, here is where we really topped out. Actually right here, we had that, you know, $1,200 profit, and now we're back to $900 kind of dollar day trading sum. It's a little rough, you know. So our monthly total is back to 576. We were so close to breaking the $1,000 mark. But, you know, if you just look at the long-term chart of our challenge, this is our $25,000 challenge. You know, you have ups and downs, you have wins, you have losses. It's totally normal. We don't even have the best win ratio right now ever since we started the challenge, and we're doing all right. So, I mean, overall, I'm pretty excited about the whole entire thing. It's just, you know, it's really tough kind of eating these losses, especially because today was really our biggest, I think today was even our biggest loss in general. So our small account took a 4.55% loss on the day. That's a big loss for our whole account overall. Not really too excited about that. You can see here we were at 5,375. This was the top our count has been. So, you know, I was so close. I was like, okay, we're getting close to that 5,500, and then we'll be at $6,000 soon. And then we'll start using, you know, $1,000 per position size. Things are going to get a lot nicer. And, you know, I just been completely getting smoked in this kind of second half of the month. And, you know, now we're getting close to that 5,000 mark again. So really just a little stressful, I'm not gonna lie. But every time I look at our $25,000 long-term chart overall, you know, it helps me relax a little bit. It makes me understand that no one day is that severe. As long as, you know, I don't like let a trade go on overnight and then hold it, and then all of a sudden I'm down on that trade like 60, 70, 80%. I just have to, you know, cut my losses a little bit quicker. But overall, everything's going really nicely in the challenge. And I really just want to focus on getting to those bigger position sizes. I want to stop being so stressed out about the fact that I'm limited on trades, because that psychology has really impacted my trading. I've noticed today, I was like, a big reason I kept on holding this trade is because I knew this was the last trade I can make today. I have to just get quicker at cutting my losses, even though if it's my last trade, or even if I'm up, there's sometimes I'm in a trade, I'll be up 7%. I'm like, oh, you know, I would like to take my profits right now and then re-enter again on a pullback. And a lot of those trades also get messed up. So it's just a little bit of trading psychology I just have to get used to for this small account challenge. I'm not really used to trading under these like artificial limits. And that's really, I think, for me, been the hardest part of this small account challenge. I mean, I've been trading for many years, so understanding the strategy, the setups, the patterns, all that stuff isn't exactly new territory for me. For me, it's more the fact that, one, we're going into a different bit of a strategy that I need to learn, the breakout morning gap and go strategy. So that was kind of one thing. And then two is just dealing with these, like I said, those small account constraints. Yeah, and this biggest loss up here, this is just really not acceptable. The fact that my biggest wins aren't that big is kind of an issue. And this is partially because I haven't been that great at the breakout trades just yet. So I haven't been getting those big moves that pop 10, 20, 30, 40%. Although, you know, I'm putting a lot of focus on that. I just got to get a little bit more aggressive in those first 15 minutes of the market open. That's really when I need to be getting aggressive, not the second half of the first 30 minutes, because that's where I tend to make a lot of mistakes. But, you know, that's the whole point of the small account challenge. It's all about building that foundation. So when your account is over $25,000 and you can start doing unlimited trading, you're going to be ready for it. All right, guys, let's dive into the charts. Let's talk about these two trades, specifically the second one, because that's the one you guys have not seen yet. But let's do both of them, and let's start with ATIF. All right, so here you see ATIF. This one, you know, this was pulling back to a long-term support zone. We broke past 3, and then we were getting close to 2.5, and I was really, really excited about this entry. I kind of forced this entry a little bit. I mean, this was an 85 million market cap and 37 million shares outstanding. But just, you know, for a second, focus on the fact that it only has $6.7 million volume. This thing was being traded very loosely today, and the market was shaky. I just should have been a little bit maybe more cautious on that fact. Not to mention, even though this is the first green day, this thing was really, really selling off, and there's probably a lot of bag holders on this. I should have also paid attention a little bit more to the fact that, you know, we had one of these big spikes before and it got totally crushed, because individual stocks have kind of a muscle memory. And I know that sounds really, really weird. A lot of times a stock that has broken out before in the past and behaved a certain way, a lot of traders are going to identify that, they're going to realize that, and they're going to have certain expectations for the stock to move in a similar way. And then you see that stock repeat itself because it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's kind of what we saw today. So this thing spiked up, was not able to hold its highs here, and then totally got crushed when it pulled back. So, you know, I should have been probably a little bit more alert of that. Not to mention, there's probably a lot of bag holders here that were excited to get out at this price and just, you know, close their positions. This thing really sold back very aggressively, but that's fine. You know, sometimes you get a loser, and there's nothing wrong with that. This one though, I should have sold. I even said this during the live stream. I was like, okay, so this one's not bouncing as much as I want. I kind of want to be getting out if this dips anymore. And originally I wanted to get out if we broke this 2.53, but I was not quick enough, so I missed this. And then I ended up getting out at 2.4, which unfortunately was kind of a rough spot. It's all the way down here. So you can tell I held this way too long. But at the 2.4, I was like, okay, I'm not going any further down than that. I'm going to, and then there was buyers, and they were getting chipped away. And then I sold into those buyers. I was like, I'm out of here, which was a good thing, because this thing kept on pulling back. And I ultimately left a little bit maybe of money on the table in terms of money I could have got back, maybe 2-3%, but you don't know how far these things are going to rip down. And I'm super happy that I did get out of this trade when I did. So, you know, ultimately I wasn't really upset about this trade. I was trading a little bit late in the day. We entered this trade at 9:59, and that's usually when I end the live stream. So this kind of like, there was a lot going on. And then I was just about to enter another trade, which we missed because of this. And yeah, this trade really kind of got me on the wrong footing. I should have, you know, understood that I typically never trade at like 9:55 to 10:10 Eastern Standard Time. I just typically don't trade. I find it very choppy. I find the pullbacks to be really unexpected. So I kind of broke my rule on that one, and a little disappointed on that fact alone. So let's talk about the big whacker that we had. Oh man, this is just painful to even talk about. Let's quickly go to it. LEE. This is one of the top gainers on the day, $85 million volume. 134 million market cap and 58 million shares outstanding. So this one, actually, you can see here that we have a small profit on this trade, and that's because we were also doing a little bit of trading on our Roth IRA account. So actually, I ended the day up almost break even if you count my my other trading accounts. But I really, on this challenge or in these videos, I really just only want to be focusing on growing the small account and the trades that we do inside the small account. So you can see the Roth IRA trade here, and then we had another nice clean little pop on, what was it? On NNVC. So this was a pretty clean little trade we had this morning. Again, I don't really want to be talking about this, but yeah, let's focus on the trades that we made today in our small account challenge. Let me quickly go back to LEE, and here I'll pull up only the cash account. So, okay, so here it is. Okay, this is like really tough for me to talk about because it's so annoying. I can't believe I traded this like I did today. This thing was gapping up tremendously. It was really, really nice. And then around $3, it sees some massive resistance. So let's go ahead and look into that. $3, 309, big resistance here. And what was unfortunate about this one is there's so many good trading opportunities on the way up this morning. So let's quickly zoom here on the 5 minutes so you guys can see it here. And we were having a really nice pullback in this area, found some really big support, and then boom, market opens, and I should have got aggressive. This is exactly when I need to start getting aggressive on the breakout trading. It's that first 15 minutes of the market open, and then after that, I think I might just stop doing breakout trading and then start looking for my reversal trading, because I'm really good at that second half of the morning, and then I'm just really bad, or at least I haven't fully figured out the morning breakout pattern just yet, but I've identified those first 15 minutes is really the time you want to get extra aggressive. And you can see here, this thing barely pulls back, big volume coming in, and then boom, runs up 16%, has a nice pullback here to this big support zone at 2.5. And again, on the long-term chart, you can see 2.5. I mean, we ran up around 2.8, so we're right around this area, and then we pulled all the way back to long-term support. So you know there's probably going to be some big bouncing going on here, and you can see we pulled that back a little bit more here, but more buyers came in, pulled this thing right back up, and we start ripping up. This thing goes another 22%. That would have been the time to trade it. After that, I should have been done trading the morning, but no. After the live stream, I get a little bit aggressive around, let's say, 10:10. So again, a little bit early from when I usually want to be trading, which is fine. I mean, that's also fine. I should have probably waited for 10:15 or something like that before I decided to maybe want to trade this, because then I would have bought right around here, and you know, I would have maybe took my profits here, 3-4%, because there was big resistance there. And when you break below key support, that support is going to be future resistance. So I might have closed out my trade there, but I don't know. Who knows how we would have traded this one. What I really didn't like about this trade is the fact that we just missed our entry at 2.5. What was it? 2.5. I don't know. I think I honestly want to say our order was at 2.57, and we just missed it because, again, I was like ending the live stream late. I just didn't have all my stuff where I wanted to go. And then I was like, oh man, did I miss this move? And then I got a bit of a FOMO, to be honest. And I entered the trade right here as we were pulling back to VWAP, and I was looking for a break past 2.7 and a continuation of this run. We didn't get it. VWAP became new resistance, and I should have got on my trade there. That's when I should have closed the trade. I should have took my $30, $40 loss and been like, okay, whatever, it happens. But you know, this was my last trade of the day. I'm already kind of annoyed, exhausted from all the accounting, and just boom, I decided to hold this a little bit longer. And you know, we pull back here, and I was like, okay, well, you know, there's a good chance we might rip up again because this pullback was really excessive. Let's see what happens. And then the selling just continues, and I was like, okay, this is really getting ridiculous. Let's see what happens here, because right now we're past my 5% stop loss, and this thing just kind of keeps on going. So let me quickly just move on here, and this thing just keeps selling off. And what I said to myself, I was like, okay, if we break this big support zone, which was former breakout territory, then I'm getting out, because 2.22, this is when I would usually be getting into an entry. This is the perfect trade that I want to be doing. I love everything about this. You know, sign me up for it. And I was down like 10% at this point, which is really bad. I'm almost, we've had what, like 2-3 trades in the past 3 months where I have such a big loser. So this one, you know, I'm already really at my max stop loss. And so just moving forward a little bit, you know, we retest this area, we almost cracked there. And I was like, oh, I'm so nervous. But I was ready to sell at any moment. And then we had this nice run up here, and I was like, okay, finally we're getting the reversal. Let's see how far this thing goes. And here's the problem. If I entered here, which there's a good chance I would have done if I didn't do this trade, because this is the exact setup that I always do. This thing runs up about 7-8%. You can see right here, 7.56%. And that's actually, there's a shoulder here. That's actually where I would have usually took my profits and closed the trade. But now, since I'm down so much, and I'm down in the first trade, and this is my last trade, I'm kind of doing a little bit of revenge trading. I'm trying to just, get my money back, maybe, end this whole thing under $100 or something like that. I'm thinking about all these things that aren't relevant to the actual trade at hand. So let's see how this thing folds out. Has a first pullback. I'm like, okay, not that bad. There's a good chance it'll probably continue to the upside, but then, it never does. And I'm like, oh man, boom, breakout. And then when this broke, I was not able to get out quick enough. I got on the next candle, and this was pretty tough. This was a painful close, but I forced it. And yeah, let's just see how it continues. It kept on selling off, so I was like, okay, well, at least that. But, as you can see, this thing did eventually pull back today. And this was actually quite a big move here, about 17%. But you don't know if it's going to pull back. I mean, you don't know if it's going to go back to 1.75. And after that, if it goes back even lower to 1.5, and maybe eventually this company just disappears. Like, you just don't know. These are small caps. They're highly volatile, which is great. But you have to just always cut your losses. And yeah, this trade, I just held my loss, or I just held the trade too long. I should have got out on this little bump right here. I should have been like, okay, if this was a completely new trade and I entered here at 2.23, and now I'm up 5%, that's exactly what I want for my support line bounces. So I should have got out of the trade there. I should have treated it like a separate trade. And there's just not a lot to say about this besides just a little bit of disappointment in myself. But then at the same time, I realized that I just got to focus on the bigger picture. I've learned some really good lessons, and I was able to share them with you guys, which is always really nice. So guys, just remember, always think on the longer picture. Focus on the trade at hand and not all the other stuff going on, like some arbitrary values, like, getting back over $100 or something like that. Stick to your rules and just understand, if you're not feeling 100% that day, be extra careful. If not, just, maybe even just walk away and not trade that day at all. But yeah, that's just, how it is. And I think I'm just going to have to accept that. So guys, if you enjoyed this content, this raw trading footage, don't forget to leave a like. And also, if you're new here, you want to learn more about trading, consider subscribing. I would love to see you in the morning live stream where we trade the open market. All right, guys, till next time, like always, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.